Textual conversations arise when an author creates a text that engages in a literary discussion and reassesses another text and determine its worth or relevance in a different context for a different audience. Margaret Atwood's 2016 novel Hagseed engages in a textual conversation with Shakespeare's 1611 tragi-comic romance The Tempest. As a reimagining of The Tempest, Atwood's purpose is to embrace Shakespeare's creation of an imagining of The Tempest. Atwood's purpose is to embrace Shakespeare's creation of an imaginary world where may first be challenged to re-evaluate oneself and one's world. Respectfully mirror the metatheatrically of a great artist, aware of the complex role of the creator, and adopt Shakespeare's clever, layered storytelling devices to create an entertaining, relatable and relevant novel for modern audience. Through the reimagining of Prospero in Hagseed, Atwood allows the values of Shakespeare's play The Tempest to resonate within a modern audience. Atwood accomplishes this by reconstructing Prospero into a character who is relatable and more appropriate for a modern context. Felix, who follows the modern values and is equitable, does not place others below him. He refused to call them prisoners, placing everyone as an equal. Representing Atwood's positive activism and values, directly referencing how Shakespeare's play described those who are different or placed below others in a cruel manner. Prospero, on the other hand, is guided by the values of the Jacobean era, placing those different to him below him, dehumanizing Caliban as a slave, hag-born, not honor d with a human shape. Following the common actions of those in the Jacobean era towards slaves and lesser people. Guided by Christian values, Shakespeare's Prospero represents complete forgiveness near the end of the play, not burdened with heaviness. A complete reversal of his former self, sacrificing his sacred books, staff, and magic in order to get back into line with Christian values and ideals. Atwood's Felix, however, shows more self-worth without complete forgiveness, still holding on to his initial revenge. He'd say yes, under one condition. Highlighting the modern misanthropy and the continuous clutching of one's power within the modern context of Atwood's novel. Unlike Prospero, Felix is not willing to sacrifice his higher status. He attempts to retain elements of his power. Through the reimagining of Shakespeare's Prospero, Atwood gives him more vulnerabilities and emotion, reshaping the original perception and thoughts about Prospero. Shedding more light onto Prospero and his actions. Margaret Atwood explores the complexity of a textual conversation between the two texts by naming her novel Hagseed. This resonates with Shakespeare's Tempest, as Hagseed is the derogatory name given to Caliban. The title suggests a power shift and a significant re-evaluation of the character of Caliban. Shakespeare's The Tempest is centered around Prospero, and by naming the Tempest after Prospero, it is affirming the divine right of kings and Prospero's dominant position in society. Atwood's context and beliefs have influenced her to privilege Caliban's role in Hagseed. In The Tempest, Caliban represents the other existing in opposition to the dominant culture he is in. Caliban, being indigenous to the island and a deformed orphan son of a witch, is portrayed as an abhorred slave, which any print of goodness wilt not take. Being capable of all ill. Prospero, having been usurped, asserts his dominance over Caliban by the use of degrading language as freckled whelp, hag-born, not honored with human shape, and by threats of magical retribution, which Caliban concedes are of an art, of such power it would control my damn's god, Setebos, and make a vassal of him. Furthermore, Caliban is a symbol of colonialism and reflects the dominance and power that was demonstrated by colonizers. Caliban is kept in Prospero's service and he constantly demands freedom. Atwood's feministic ideals and current 21st century values have Atwood suggesting a more humane understanding of imprisonment is needed, and societies should value virtue and forgiveness rather than revenge. This speaks of the complexity of Atwood's human experience when re-evaluating and reconstructing Shakespeare's Caliban into her prisoners. Through the staging of The Tempest in Hagseed, Caliban is played by Legs, commonly identified for his enthusiastic rap and trash talk contrasted to Caliban's lovely lyrical language. Through Atwood's use of a symbolic question, 15 of you want to play Caliban, why do you want to play him? The audience understands the complexities of Caliban's character and why the inmates feel as though they resonate with such a frown upon the character by replying monster. Lots of them call him a monster, evil, stupid, sort of a cannibal. This dissonance resonates with the dehumanization of Caliban in The Tempest, suggests that people who are imprisoned are looked upon and referred to as outcasts. Atwood's re-evaluation of Caliban as the other suggests to a modern audience the importance of virtue and forgiveness in the human experience. It also allows the play to continue to endure and transcend time. In conclusion, Margaret Atwood's Hagseat is a textual conversation between Shakespeare's The Tempest and her novel. The re-evaluation of key characters such as Caliban and Miranda allow the audience to connect to the characters that have been recontextualized for a modern audience.